Hello again, Mark Brennan for jamplay.com. Great to have you back on my basic electric guitar series. Today is lesson 13, lucky 13, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand on our power chord lesson from a few lessons ago. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take those three basic power chord forms and make them movable for you. So we're going to get up and down the neck with power chords today. So get your guitar out, get some crunch rhythm going, tune up, and we'll get started. Okay, movable power chords. Let's get at it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our E5. Okay. Now we got onto the 3-note E5. If you are still working on the 2-note E5 and you're not real comfortable with the 3-note yet, you can do this lesson with the 2-note power chords. Okay, but I'm going to explain and demonstrate everything with the 3-note power chords. Okay, basically you remember you had to bar with the E. You're barring the 5th and 4th strings with your index, and then the A 3-note you bar the 4th and 3rd strings. You're playing the root, the 5th, and the root, and then the 3-note D power chord involves this fingering like this, the index and the second finger being up on the 3rd fret. That's because of the difference of the tuning between the 2nd and the 3rd string as compared to the other pairs of strings. Okay, so there's your 3-note D, your 3-note A, and your 3-note E. A little bit review for you. If you have to go back and review that first power chord lesson, I would strongly suggest you do that before you get into this, because this is going to move up and down the neck. Okay, all right, so let's check out the movable E power chord. Now, sometimes refer to the E5 as the root 6 because the root is on the 6th string. So a lot of people will call this the root 6 power chord. Okay, now let's make it movable now. It's going to involve a different fingering because we're not going to have any open strings now. Okay, so I'll tell you what, let's move into the 3rd position. Okay, a little easier on the fingers. What you're going to do is you're going to play the root note with your index. Okay, so in this example that I'm showing you, we got G. Okay, so we're going to take our E5 power chord and transpose it to a G5 power chord. Okay, now I'm going to show you 2 different ways to finger this. Okay, some people will finger it by barring their 3rd finger like this. Okay, a lot of people do this, it's common. Okay, so you're taking the bar that you had with your index and then you're replacing it with your 3rd finger, moving it up to the 3rd position, replacing the root E with G, and there's your G5. Okay, now you have other options. You can go index, ring finger, pinky. That's how I play it a lot of times. Most of the time, I play it like that. Now, if I'm playing where I'm moving it real quick, instead of barring with 3, since I don't have a really good size left hand, unfortunately, I've gotten into the habit over years of using my pinky. Okay, so there I'm using the bar here with my pinky. So you can bar it with 3, you can go 1, 3, 4, or you can use your pinky. Different situations might warrant different fingerings. Okay, now if you're using the 2-note, just go with your index and ring finger. Okay, on the basic forms, you just used your index finger. Now you have to use index and 3. Okay, so we talked about the fingering, so you'll have to make a choice with that as you go through this lesson. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to move up the neck. We're going to learn the natural notes along the E string. Natural notes are the notes that don't have any sharps and flats. Okay, I think we've talked before about the natural half steps being E and F. Okay, and then B and C. In other words, there's 1 fret between those 2 notes. Okay, so a half step is open to the 1st fret or 1 fret to the next. The natural half steps are E and F and B and C. Now all the other notes they're a whole step apart, like F to G. Okay, G to A, whole step. A to B, whole step. Now those are nice because they go right along the position markers. G is at 3, A is at 5, B is at 7, and then half step to C. Okay, whole step to D at 10, and then we're at our octave fret. We're back to E. The double dot is the octave fret. We've talked about that before. Okay, so if you look at your supplemental material, they're all laid out there, going up to the 12th fret in whole notes. So good practice to get the feel of movable power chords. Root 6. There's the E now. Okay, and I'm going to finger it like that for the F. There's your G. Up a whole step from the F. Whole step up to A. Now you're going to have to memorize these roots. B's at 7. Half step to C at 8. Whole step to D, and then whole step to E. Okay. So that's a good exercise. We can also descend. I didn't show it descending on the supplemental material, but there's your D, there's your C, there's your B, and then there's your A, G, okay, F, and then E. Okay, so there's the root 6. Now let's go to the root 5. A5. Same deal with the fingering. You've got to learn the notes along the 5th string now. Okay? The half steps B to C are here. Right, 2 to 3, and then you have E to F, 7, 8. Okay, so you have A. There's your B. Half step to C. Sustain them. D. Whole step to E. Half step to F at 8. G's at 10. And then your octave fret 12A. Okay, so it's getting the feel of the fingering, moving from position to position, memorizing the name of the chord. You've got to memorize the root. Okay? In our next segment, we'll talk more about that. Okay, now the D5 feels different, obviously, because it doesn't use the bar. There's our shape with the basic open position, open D5 power chord. Now, whole step to E. Now here's the fingering. You need to go 1, 3. If you're using the 2 note, again, everything's the same. It's still 1, 3. But if you want to add the octave to give you the 3 note, you need to stretch your pinky up to 5. That gives you your E5. Again, we're doing root 4 now. Okay, E to F's a half step, right? Whole step to G. Whole step to A. Whole step to B. Now here's our half step to C up at 10. And then your octave D at 12. Okay, so you see the fingering's different with the 3-note D5 power chord. Okay, so that's a lot of information right there. Those are your 3 basic power chord forms, movable all the way up to the 12th position, just the natural notes. Okay, so let's take a break here, and then we'll come back and we'll focus more on learning the notes, and there's a little riff exercise that we can practice to help you learn the notes and practice moving up and down the neck. Okay, we'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, movable power chords. Now I'm going to show you a little riff that'll work on all 3 strings that'll help you memorize your power chords. Okay, all right, and the riff goes like this. Now I'm going to start with the open string. In this instance, we're on the low 6 E. It's kind of a syncopated 8th note riff that you can learn. And what you need to do is say the note as you go down. Okay, it says, say as you play. Okay, so something like this, real slow. Do it all with downstrokes. Again, you got to get the feel of the rhythm. It's kind of a cool riff. It's a really nice riff, actually. Okay, so E, D, C, B, A, G. Now we're going to throw in F sharp. G, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E. Repeat. E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F sharp. And that's the riff. I used a little palm mute just to give it some chunkiness. Okay, so we threw in a chromatic note just to make it sound better. We used F sharp. Okay, now, once I learn that and I've drilled my roots into my brain cells, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E. Okay, now let's play the riff with the power chords now. Now again, if you're comfortable with the 2-note and you're not moving around your 3 notes real well yet, just do it with 2 notes. But I'm going to show you with 3 notes. Now, the way I'm going to perform this is I'm going to use a palm mute lifting technique that I've talked about before. I think we did that in the last lesson, where you're going to play all the open E's with a palm mute and lift your palm mute on the chords. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to insert the notes. We're going to insert power chords. So palm mute, E, D, C, B, A, G. Those are right together on 8th notes. F sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E. Lay out the bar for the E, then shift back up to 12. E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E. Okay, and you can increase the tempo if you want, but again, even if you stop saying them, be aware of what the power chords are. The idea is to learn the fretboard here. E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, G, F sharp. Kind of a cool riff too. All right, so do the same thing on A. A, G, F, E, D, C, B, C, B, C, C, B, A, and power chords. A, G, F, E, D, C, B, C, B, C, C, B, A. Okay, get the idea? Okay, you're learning your power chords, naturals, throwing in a couple chromatics. Okay, let's go to D. Now D's a little trickier because of the fingering. Okay, D, C. Now we're going to use B flat here, just to keep the riff consistent. Okay, remember B was at 9. Okay, but we're going to use B flat. Okay, then we have A, G, F, E, D. D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E, F, E, F, B flat, A, G, F, E, F, E, F, F, E, D. I'm going to shift to that fingering real quick, and then back up. D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E, F, E, F, F, E, D. Okay, so there you have it, in a nutshell, your movable power chords up and down the neck. Okay, a little bit of time every day. Okay, start with the E. Okay, there'll be fretboard diagrams on the lesson to help you. But you really want to get those natural notes along the bottom 3 strings down from memory. You know, I would test my students. I would say, play G on root 4. You know, play G on root 5. You know, and how quick can you react to learn the note? Okay. Okay, so that about wraps it up for the movable power chords. We'll take a break here. I'll come back with a wrap up and a look forward. Thanks. Okay, Mark Brennan for jamplay.com. Hope you enjoyed lesson 13, Lucky 13, movable power chords. Okay, now again, a lot of information, but again, we're trying to be comprehensive here. Take it a little at a time. Start with the movable E5 shape, work that up the neck, memorize the roots, try that riff. And then again, I always encourage creativity. Try to write a riff, write a nice power chord riff to help you practice your movable power chords. Okay, and again, you have options with fingering. Um, you can do the 2-note or the 3-note, whatever you're most comfortable with. I do encourage you to eventually develop the 3-note power chord. It gives you a lot more power, um, fatter sound too. Okay, so that'll wrap up our lesson on power chords. Now, our next lesson, I thought I would digress and start talking about rhythmic notation. I've had a lot of questions on my lessons about rhythmic notation um, with tablature, and I thought I would do a few lessons on rhythm. Now I'm going to intersperse them here and there, but our next lesson, 14, will be on rhythm and rhythmic notation. Okay, so see you next time. I'm Mark Brennan, and thanks for joining me.